welcome back. As promised, we have another incredible guest, Kim Players, who tells me that it's never too late to be unstoppable. Kim is a motivational and inspirational speaker, and she helps others realize their voice and helps them become unstoppable. Kim,
Yay.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So tell us about you and what you do. You've had a very long and interesting career in the speaking world.
Absolutely. I was born to do this. People say, how do you become an inspirational speaker? It's like in my heart. It was what I was meant to do. I remember from a young age, I knew that I was supposed to inspire people. I thought first I'd start as a comedian, but I decided that inspiration was more my cup of tea.
That is fantastic. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
Well, I work specifically with business entrepreneurs, and I assist them to have rock-solid confidence and to be unstoppable, to re-engage their dreams, believe in themselves, and become their own biggest fan.
Fantastic. So I imagine that's a big deal, right? They say public speaking is the #1 fear.
Absolutely.
Or second to death. But
yes.
So what are some of the ways in which you help people if there's somebody that is, unlike us, but
right.
if they are
Sure.
somebody that is afraid to talk in front of other people?
Right. Well, first of all, I resonate with them by telling them that I used to be a really shy and timid person. And people are really surprised to hear that. I used to work at Chi-Chi's restaurant when I was in my 20s, not too long ago. And I was a cashier, and I remember like all the waiters and waitresses coming up to me, and they'd be cashing in these major tips, and I'd say, man, it does not pay to be a cashier. It pays to be on the other end. So I asked my boss if I'd become a waiter, and he's like, absolutely, and the rest is history. I learned, I pushed myself, and I said, successful people are comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
So that's what I assist other people with. You have to be uncomfortable to follow your dream. You
Very
have
true.
to be like, you have to decide that this is what I want, and I'm not going to be a people pleaser, but I'm going to be a people person.
Love it.
Yep. Be the leader that you want to follow, and then you'll be the leader that others want to follow.
That is such great advice. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what are some of the success stories? I imagine you've worked with a lot of people and you've seen them make great strides. Can you share a couple of those?
Absolutely. One of my great success stories are when I used to be a personal fitness trainer, I had people that were very overweight, and they'd hire me to like do different, maybe they had a wedding or something to go to, so my inspiration inspired them to like end up doing bodybuilding contests, because they started seeing the possibilities. And then once you get people to see the possibilities, they don't care who it offends, they just go for it.
Yes.
So that's my success story. 52-year-olds doing bodybuilding competitions, people that had high end, like they were like low man on the totem pole, and then they ended up becoming top in their companies. And just like, even basic, I've even talked to brownie troops.
I love that.
Yeah, brownie troops. I bring my dogs in and I talk to brownie troops, and I ask them, what does it take to be brave? And how do we as women help other women be brave?
So the funny thing about that, I don't mean to brag, but I was the Dolphin Badge winner of the Girl Scout Cookie Contest every year.
Wow.
I was a brownie. But I honestly think that at that young age, it is such a valuable thing. When you learn, I didn't know what I was just good at talking to people,
Sure.
so of course I sold the most cookies.
Right.
But I mean, then anytime I had a sales role, I always had to be the top person because the brownie
That's
badge
right.
to live up to.
That's right.
So I love that you work with people at all ages and all spectrums of life, and really, make a big impact there.
Absolutely.
So exciting.
And the thing about it is, a lot of people, I ask people, why do you want to be with people? Like you and I, we like people. We are stimulated from people. So if we can get out of our head and get into our heart, then we don't think about how we're going to feel, and we think about how we make other people feel.
I love that. I love that. So if I'm a viewer and I'm watching and I know that I definitely could use a little help, what are some tips that you can give the viewers?
Tips on what? Just
speaking.
Speaking?
Yeah, increasing your presence and your
Right.
voice.
Well, the big thing is read, read, read. Because there's nobody out there that hasn't been through anything that you and I have been through. Everybody has their own story.
Yes.
I was taught by a very high, top paid speaker that said, take your mess, make it your message, and learn how to get paid for it.
I love that.
Right?
Yes,
Right?
I love that.
So, and you see that every year, like in January, you see all these books on diet and exercise, and it's somebody that was like 300 pounds, then they got down to 115 pounds, and then somebody said, you should get paid for that. So really, success is a system. That's all that it is. So whatever that you want to do, find a system that works for you. Read a book, put together a system, and then get out there and just don't be afraid to face your fears and just do it afraid.
Fantastic. Love that. Turn your mess into your message.
That's
Perfect.
right. That's right.
And so what's your vision? You obviously are very entrepreneurial and you
Yes.
have some big goals. What do you see for your future? You obviously, you know, have many, many years ahead. You can
Sure.
still do the bodybuilding contest.
Absolutely, yeah, not quite, but I work on it. Well, my vision is just global. You know, I've listened to people like Mark Victor Hansen, and he has a really big global attitude. And just to travel around and assist business professionals, especially entrepreneurs, that, you know, it can be a lonely world out there as an entrepreneur, to, you know, be their own biggest fan, to fight the good fight, to have a system, and to believe in themselves. And I know believing in ourselves, we hear that all the time, but it's true. You must believe in yourself. You must become your own biggest fan, and you must learn to say to yourself, no matter what, yes, I can.
Yes, that's
Yes,
so
I
true.
can,
Yes,
right?
I
No matter what
can.
anybody else says, yes, I can.
Great. And who have been some of your other mentors and people that you've learned these lessons from?
Well, God is my #1 mentor because obviously He brought me here to this earth, and I'm thankful for that every day, especially with the stories that I've had in my life. My dad was in the Navy, and I moved 17 times in 18 years, and so
Wow.
I lived my life uncomfortable. I went to 5 different high schools, and so, you know, just assisting, you know, my big message is to just get out there. I love Jim Rohn. I love Mark Victor Hansen. Tony Robbins.
Yes.
I used to listen to him a long time ago. I had somebody take me to see him when I was 27. And then there's some people that aren't as big and bad. I've always enjoyed watching Oprah.
Yes.
I love watching her life classes. I love hearing other people's stories. And that's just you know, for anybody who's listening, people want to hear your story.
Right.
It gives them courage. Your story does matter because you matter.
It's so true. You know, I've definitely had my fair share of challenges. I grew up with a sick parent. I lost a parent when I was very young. I had medical issues. And so you definitely can get, you know, like you said, everybody has a story and things that you've
Right.
overcome. But I'm constantly playing Oprah or, you know, something of that nature as I'm working. And it's so funny because you're either on one side, you either hear someone amazing that inspires you, or you hear someone that has a worse story and you're like, okay, mine isn't that
That's
bad.
right.
So it's great to, you know, to get that message out there. And just, I love to just, I'm a sponge for all that type of
Absolutely.
information.
And you know, when you listen to other people's stories, you know, it validates, you know, we all have a purpose. If we have a
Yes.
pulse, we have a purpose. And so, you know, we can't let other people take that away from us.
Yes.
You know, that's the big thing. Whatever you've been through up to this point in your life, don't let anybody take that away from you. That's your story.
Very true.
And that's your legacy. So go and run with it.
Fantastic. So if I'm a viewer and I'm, you know, maybe stuck in my life, I don't like my job, or maybe you don't have a high level of confidence, how would you inspire them to realize that you can be unstoppable?
Well, that's a great question, because one thing that I learned early on as an entrepreneur is that most people have big dreams, bad habits, and they have big disappointments. So a lot of times people have these big dreams, but they haven't even made that first step of the habits that they require to reach those dreams.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense.
You know,
yes.
we have these little habits. We have habits whether we think about it or not.
Yes.
And some habits serve us and some habits disserve us.
Right.
And so, like, for me personally, when I decided that I was going to become an inspirational speaker, the first thing I said is, I got to be healthy.
Yes.
Because so I'm ready to take on whatever comes my way, so I don't self-sabotage. So my suggestion is start thinking of great habits that you can have that will get you to your success. Fake it till you make it. Start getting be healthier than you've ever been.
I love that. You know, people always ask me, because I've worked for so many different notorious, you know, celebrity speakers, many of which you've mentioned here
Sure.
today, and they always ask what the common thread is. And aside from just mindset and belief that you can do anything in life, there isn't truly, you know, something you could say, well, they're exactly the like in this way, except for the habits.
That's
You
right.
know, each person, whether it was Harvey or Tony Robbins or someone else, they're up early, they're dressed to the nines, they are motivated, their thoughts are positive, they're constantly, even in challenges. That's something I learned from both of them, actually, is, you know, when a challenge occurs, how do you react? That's where life changes. You know, life gets
Absolutely.
really interesting or really hard if you learn to, you know, to react and so forth to life.
And it takes a while to build that momentum. So you just have to, that's where where you position yourself, the people you hang around with, find some great accountability partners. Like I go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. I don't like going to the gym at 5:30 in the morning because I don't like to go into bed early, but I know that that'll serve me the most when I think of being a global speaker. And if I don't do it, then I think all the people out there that I've dreamed of speaking to, they're not going to hear me because I don't want to get my butt out of bed.
Yes.
It's really that simple.
It's such a good point. You have to set yourself up for success.
You have to think of the future and think, what am I holding back on that's stuff that I can do? And it's that simple thing, be more positive, think more positive, eat more positive, and think of it as your goal that you're moving towards. And once again, successful people are comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
But then what happens is 5 years down the road, people say, like, I'm coming on your show, people are like, oh my gosh, you're lucky. No, I'm not. I got up at 5:30 in the morning. I was waiting for when my number was called.
Yes.
I started having those habits. I started eating more salads. I started, reading more books. I started making those habits so that I was ready when my number's called.
That's
and
so
you
true.
do get lucky just by your habits that you have.
I love that you said that. When I wrote my first book, I remember speaking to my publisher, and she was, asked, of course, I'm always, I start with the end in mind and everything. And
absolutely.
She said, so the first day we were talking about the contract, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to go on Oprah. This is back when Oprah had her show.
Sure.
And she's like, wait, hold on. I said, no, just so you know, as my publisher, I'm Oprah ready at all times.
Yes.
I've got the hair highlighted, I've got the nails painted, and I'm ready to go. I have my outfit picked out. So whether it takes a month or it takes 5 years, just let me know because I'm ready.
That's right.
And so I love that you do that too.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
Yep. No excuses.
Exactly.
No excuses. So I love it. Yep. Good for you.
Well, thank you
Same
so
for me.
much for this wisdom and for being here and for the work that you do.
Yes. Thank you very much.
An absolute pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
And thank you, everybody, for watching today. This has been the AskBonBon Show, real conversations about what matters most, where we bring you the people and the tools to create you. We'll see you next time.